Well, so welcome. My name is Leo Widrick, and I'm a coach. I have coached some of the most successful and inspiring people that I know. I've coached billionaires, I've coached actors, I've coached radio hosts, professional athletes, entrepreneurs, people from all different walks of life. And I'm in a very fortunate position, and that most of the people that come to me for coaching, I don't have space. And I decided, hey, I think what's going on in these sessions is really powerful. It's really profound. And I would like to share that with the wider world. So I reached out to some people that I've coached before to say, hey, do you want to come on this show? What we're going to do is we are going to record a live coaching session, and we're going to share it with the world. It will be completely unedited. It will be just as deep, just as meaningful as a session that I'm having with my private clients. And this is what this is. This show is called Out in the Open. And my first guest that you get to watch today is a friend of mine called Johnny Miller. And Johnny is an entrepreneur. He's built a startup called Maptia. He's a TEDx speaker. And today he coaches other founders on emotional resilience and being able to live through the startup roller coaster with a sense of preparedness. And he has tremendously interesting and helpful programs. But today he steps in the seat, and he steps into the ring himself, and he brings some of his own stuff, some of his own shadow. And I personally believe is one of my best work, in the sense of one of the most profound, deepest coaching sessions that I've given, in part because of his capacity and his ability to go there. And the topic we're diving into is how repressed sexuality can lead to blocked creativity, and how, if we have the courage and we take our chance to unearth that and to release that, and it shows up in the metaphor of the raging bull for Johnny, something really drastically shifts. And this is what we're doing today. So I hope you enjoy it. My invitation is really watch the show. If you want to, make some time, track your own body, notice what you're experiencing, almost see that as a meditation, and allow yourself to be transformed, allow yourself to be coached as you're watching the session. That's really the invitation here, to make this as powerful as possible for your own life. And let me know afterwards. I'm really curious how it lands. But for now, let's dive in. Let's do this. Cool. Well, Johnny, I'm just excited to have you on. And yeah, love the catching up, but also, this is experimental. This is the first time I'm doing this, and but it's also not, it's also the same thing as usual. And it's really, we've gone there before. I really want to, start inviting you now. What would make this a really powerful conversation? What would make this really helpful for you?
I quite like it when we have just explored what has felt most alive. And I kind of think back to some of the conversations we had here in Bali, and the ones that just end up going to places that neither of us could have imagined when we start talking. So what questions are alive for you right now, or what might be an interesting jumping off point to start with?
Yeah, I think for me, it's and you mentioned to me a few things that are really kind of boiling in the cooker for you, right? Around the workshops, around emotional stuff, and that may not be alive right now, right? But I actually think your own question is really good. Like, what is most alive to you? What would be interesting to look under the hood and see, what would be there?
So I think personally, I've been exploring the theme of boundaries recently, and realizing that mine have historically been pretty much non-existent in many areas of my life. And that has been an interesting theme of kind of a lens through which I've been viewing lots of things in my life. And then I suppose related to that, there's also the theme of stepping into this new business that I'm trying to put out into the world, and these workshops that I'm creating, that I feel like I have something to share, but I also don't yet feel like an expert, and it's not something that I have a huge amount of past experience running. So there's that element of trying to pitch or even sell something that I haven't yet built up the confidence in myself to share. Um, so that's definitely alive right now as well. And yeah, also moving, I think, feeling a sense of uprooting from here in Bali, and moving, being on the road again, and the feelings of uncertainty and excitement that come with that. Yeah, those are the themes that are alive right now.
And if you touch in, like, these are all beautiful openings. If you touch in, if you pause for a moment, where do you want to go first? Or it could be something else entirely that's just surfacing in this moment.
I think I'm interested in the theme around boundaries, and also specifically how it's connected to expressing anger and expressing sides of I guess aggression, which I think I know in my own life I have spent most of my life feeling that it was bad, or it was somehow wrong to be angry at any point, and that it was somehow a kind of a sign of weakness or a sign of lack of control. And I feel like that is in some way also connected to the lack of boundaries that have been in place. So that feels alive for me at the moment.
And I want to go in there, but first I want to check in. I want to see, maybe this could be me. This could be me bringing this. So let me know if this is not true for you. But there's also, to me, something, if I'm sensing in my own body, there's something a little more immediate, something a little more like, oh, we are recording this. This is going to be seen by people. Is that a theme for you that's coming up right now, or you feel like that the topic is actually more alive? Because we can put that aside, but yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I'd say the topic has been alive in the last week or two, which is kind of why I brought it up. I mean, honestly, right now, I think the topic is probably what we were just talking about before the call, which is this idea of stepping into something that feels ambitious and exciting, which is a new business, and that idea of ambition, I suppose, and how that is, how I've previously seen that as being at odds with having a contented and maybe calm life.
Yeah.
And the fact that I've seen that as being a kind of an either or decision for the last long period of time.
I think we're there. That's the topic. That like, if I touch in, my heart is like, ooh, yeah. Are you with me on that? Is that coming through for
Yeah,
you?
it is. Yeah, for sure.
And I love what you saying, something ambitious and exciting. And to me, what we're doing is, in my view, something ambitious and exciting, like the very thing we are doing right now. You showing up, you being vulnerable, right? You being seen, is that. And I know there's your business, and there's, I believe the way we do one thing is how we do everything in some way, right? So tell me a little bit more. So there's just two strains. There's the part of you that's like, I want to be the Johnny that's like calm and like, you know, everything is smooth and life is just kind of relaxed all the time.
Mm.
But there's another part that I'm hearing that's coming in that's like, I'm not so sure about that anymore. I think it's okay to be like completely disoriented a little bit and then find your footing again. That's kind of what I'm getting. Bringing this
Mm.
up.
Yeah.
What does that bring up for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. Just hearing you describe that, I hadn't actually made this connection until now, but the anger piece for me, I've recently been going to Thai boxing classes here
Right.
in Canggu, and I haven't done this for like maybe 11, 12 years. And there's something that almost like comes online in me when I'm sparring with someone, and it feels like the same energy that I just saw you kind of expressing of that, like that playful aggression and that fire, but also that kind of stepping into the ring and
Right.
knowing that there's a chance of getting hit in the face.
Right.
And I think there's a similar energy there, and I've been through quite an intense kind of couple of, well, 2 or 3 years, and I've also, how do I put this? I've enjoyed getting to that place where I feel calm and I feel centered and I feel balanced, and I feel that I have a sense of control and also a sense of enough. Like I kind of have my needs met and I have the things that are important to me. And the fear, and it definitely is a fear, is that by stepping into some of these ambitions, which I'm realizing are very much alive in me, that will kind of knock me off course of this stability and this sense of groundedness in myself that I feel like is there, and that I don't want to lose.
What's coming up
Yeah,
right now in your body as you're speaking to that?
as I was talking about the boxing and the ambition, there's like a sense of like aliveness in my stomach, kind of in my, like, I guess just below my sternum, like that kind of feels alive. And then as I was saying about not losing the sense of equanimity or the, I guess, the place of calm, there was also a sense of like, there's almost like sadness in a way, which I wouldn't have expected, but it was like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, there was a sense of anticipatory sadness.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that because
Mm,
it's like a cocktail. It's like a mixture of different things, right? There is this
mm-hmm,
the bubbly, I'm gonna go out in the world, I'm gonna do my stuff. I'm not gonna give a shit about, I'm not gonna be so treating myself so sensitively anymore. I'm being a little provocative, but I'm gonna
mm,
step in the ring. I might get hit in the face. It's
mm,
gonna be fine. And you saying there is a part of you that enjoys the life you have grown into now, right? That's very calm,
mm, mm,
has this level of
mm.
safety, has a level of what else comes up there if you touch into that?
Yeah, I think there is a level of having time for the important people in my life
Yeah.
and community, and not feeling hugely busy or rushed,
Yeah.
and being able to kind of wake up in the morning and to feel into like, what is it that feels like I want to do today, like what feels alive, and having that flexibility and that creative freedom to experiment and explore and play, um, which yeah, which is, I think, really important to me. And the fear, whether or not it is justified, is that by stepping into the ambitions and into the fire, to what degree am I sac would I be sacrificing that? And would it, would it be worth it? Would it be something that I would regret down the line and be like, and just go through a big leap again?
And in my own sternum, I almost feel like this tug of war. This like this like a part of saying like, or part is like tugging on your sleeve, like, this like, but Johnny, look at this life, it's so nice. And but there's this fire building. We talked about boundaries, we talked about the the boxing classes, and they're kind of like two oceans meeting. This is kind of the image I have.
Yeah.
And they're not merging, right? They're like, have you ever seen like in South Africa, where the two oceans meet and they have different colors?
I was thinking in Hawaii, there's the underwater volcanoes where they like erupt, and then the lava like meets the ocean, and it just like freezes and molds and
right. It does its thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like there is almost inhabiting two sides of myself, or maybe it's two aspects of my personality, my identity, which I am kind of trying on and seeing how they feel.
And they're a bit hostile with each other. Is that like, one is saying, well, I want to take up space, what this part over there isn't letting me. The other part is saying, don't leave me behind. This part isn't so important. It's going to hurt you. I don't know, like something about like the quality of relating amongst them. What's true for you?
Yeah, I think this is really interesting to talk about in real time. I think that the part of me that is kind of like the watery side, the kind of the side that is valuing equanimity and valuing stability, there's an element of control there as well that I feel. And I think that desire for control is tugging against the fiery desire for making a bit of mischief and kind of like being, causing a bit of havoc, and like banging its chest and doing all of that. And it feels like that kind of desire for the sense of not complete control, but the sense of like knowing what is coming up and knowing what to expect. And this like also desire to just like, let's see what's possible. Let's like go into fifth gear and just like race down the highway and see where this goes. So yeah, there is definitely a kind of a tension there, I think.
And let's hang out with the tension for a moment. Like, let's get really intimate with it. How would you describe it? What's the image, or what's the experience of that in the body for you? I feel like when I get really close, where's the line?
I'm not sure if there is a line, but it feels like there's it's almost like the watery side is giving this this, let's call it a bull, because that's the image that came to mind. This bull, like more of a leash, like more leeway, more room to like run and kind of wave its horns around. And like that pen is kind of like expanding slightly, but there's a desire to not let it like run wild and and charge down and cause chaos.
So Which part do you want to be with? The fiery part? For now, we'll get to both, but which one do you want to give a little more space for a moment?
I think the one that I'm less used to feeling or allowing or acknowledging is certainly the fiery the fiery side, and so I feel like giving that more space to be present is would be interesting.
Yeah. And maybe I just feel called for you to maybe just check in with the calm part, the really that loves the relaxed part. Just to let that part know that you will come back to it. You won't forget about it, so to speak.
Yeah, I feel like I have permission from that side.
Good, good. Let's go in with the bull. I love this.
Okay.
If you took the roof off, if you took it all away, there's no more boundaries for this bull, and for you too. And you're looking back, like a year from now, you're looking back, this bull has just roamed the planet, has been everywhere he wanted to be. It's done literally everything he wanted to do. What's the image you see it doing? Where is it running? What's it accomplished? What have you accomplished? Let's let that really expand for a moment.
There's a couple of images, actually three main images that come to mind. Two of them are adventure related. One of them is I just had an image of riding a motorbike down in Patagonia.
Yeah.
And looking for waves down there, and just the kind of open highway and the sense of adventure. That was one image. The second image was something that I used to do when I was younger but haven't done for a few years, is surfing in big waves and kind of feeling. It's probably the time that I think I felt most alive in my life, when I've been in positions of I guess waves of consequence, of waves where you can snap your surfboard and there's like triple overhead sets coming through, and that's something that I haven't really pursued or explored for a number of years. And I had a dream about it the other last week, and it's something that I think is also coming back online in some ways. So I had an image of getting back into that arena. And thirdly, what comes up is an image of a live podcasting with the two people that came to mind were Jerry Colonna and Krista Tippett, two people that I would love to interview this year. And as part of that, I think the bigger desire is stepping into and almost declaring as a mission and a question to explore in a very deep way this notion of leadership, which in my mind is becoming a better human. I think better leaders are essentially better humans. The process is very similar. And the image or the desire underneath that is to really commit both internally and externally to that quest. It feels like a quest. I think that's the best way to put it. Maybe all of these are different quests in different ways, but it's a sense of committing to that journey for myself to go on this, and also in an external way. and finding ways to bring other people into, kind of invite other people into that mission, and sharing it.
Is there anything else? Yeah, notice what's happening right now. The body actually opening up in this way, the shoulders moving. Yeah, very good.
I'm not sure it's an image, but the thing that's coming up is it's like a desire to create, I think, that feels connected to that kind of that sense of fire.
Yeah.
And for me, that channel has been writing and more recently podcasting. And I think that it really, the bigger, what is maybe underlying the desire is to create a container for this creation to come through in a way that gives me permission to let it come through in a very unobstructed way.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
And now we hit something. And where does that creation live really in the body? Because I feel like you've dropped in a layer deeper, and it's coming from a place that may be surprising to you. At least that's my guess, and I'm going to share it in a moment. But I want to hear, where does it live?
It feels like there's something in both quite deep in my belly, almost kind of towards my pelvic floor, and also there's like something alive in my throat as well. There's like two.
Yeah.
I think they're both connected in some way, but there's a felt presence in both of those places. It's almost like the expression is up in my throat area, and that's any constriction there is that's where that's felt. But the actual the origin or where the creative juice comes from is like right at the bottom of my kind of pelvis area.
I love that. And I want to go into that a little bit, because as you were speaking, I had this image of this raging bull that was also very sexual, very charged. And the fact that you can name it, that it's in the pelvic floor, right? In my view, all our creation comes from there. That's how we create life, right? So we create it from like, it's our genitals, it's our penis that create life as men, right? So all other creation also comes from that energy and from that place. And it can feel very charged, and it can feel very obstructed also, right? And I just want to give you this, let this land in your body, that your desire to break free, your desire to come into your creative center, your desire to express in the world may have a lot to do with your sexual freedom, with your sexual liberation. What does that bring up right away? It's bringing up something right away, up here, right? But what does that do for you?
Yeah, so it's bringing up the fact that on the one hand, the the thought that I've been essentially celibate for a period of about 2 years,
Yeah.
um, following grief, and that was, I think, just part of my process.
Right.
Um, and an interesting timing in that I've recently embarked on a new relationship that feels very, very fresh and very exciting.
Mhm.
But there's um, a lot of desire is kind of coming back online in all areas of life, including sexual. And yeah, I think you're right. It feels like it is connected, and whether or not I've been intently kind of repressing that side, or whether it just the desires haven't been there. I'm not entirely sure. Um,
And I want to slow you down because
mm,
this is fast. This is, I think, really wonderful where we're going now.
mm,
Because at the beginning of the call, there was also the grief, right? That was
mm,
actually, there was you said there's a sadness there, right? At the top.
mm, mm, mm,
Um,
mm, mm, mm,
and I almost feel called just to land, to kind of freeze frame and just to be with everything that's there now, because it's shifting, or it has a certain quality that wants to be acknowledged. Maybe what do you pick up?
mm. There's definitely a felt sense of presence and kind of aliveness in that area for me, and it feels like a sensation of, maybe the word is thawing. It's
Yeah.
like the heat of that life and that energy
Yeah.
is thawing a kind of protective layer that has been there, and I guess, yeah, would have and did form when I lost my partner
Yeah.
Sophie, and potentially feelings of grief for
And
not.
let's leave the analysis out. I think this is we're getting really tender
Yeah,
right now.
okay,
This
yeah.
this protective layer is actually very tender, right? If we turn towards that for a moment.
Mm.
It'd be a little scary, but if we give some space to that, what would that want to do right now? What would that need to be supported?
Mm. It feels like there's a kind of sense of softening that
Yeah,
wants to happen,
yeah,
and yeah, it's interesting. I keep flicking between the kind of analysis mode
yeah,
and the awareness of talking to you
yeah.
and on this, and then sinking back into the feeling. And
And you can stay with the feeling and just report from that place, if that's okay with you. You can leave that. We'll come to the analysis.
Mm.
In my own body, I feel a softening, but I also feel a kind of closing. The body actually wants to close off that down there also. Is that true for you? What do you notice in your own body?
There's a sensation of tightness, I guess, and
Yeah.
there's a part of me that is moving towards it with a kind of intention of softening, but it's also a
Let's leave that off. Let's let the intention to
yeah,
soften
yeah,
go,
yeah,
and let's let it
yeah, yeah.
actually get tighter. Let's really, and you can allow your body to fold over or fold into the tightening. Yeah, without trying to. Don't try to release it. Don't try to make it less.
Mm,
If you're open to that, something calls to me that this wants to be quite tight and contracted and small.
mm.
Yeah, yeah. Take your time. Take it slow. What's the image, the posture that comes to you to give real expression to this tightening?
It's like a clenched fist. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah. And that gets rotated in. Really important, that rotation. Yeah.
mm, mm, mm,
For some reason, the image that came to my mind was like an armadillo
hmm,
rolling itself in. This may not be true for you, but I just want to offer it anyways.
mm,
And I
mm, mm,
wanna see this movement of the fist, this turning inward, this actually clenching inward. I want
mm,
to see if you'd be open to allowing that in your body to happen too, with the fist, but also the body clenching inward, turning away maybe from me, turning to the side and tightening the belly and the chest. Yeah.
yeah. Right now, the lower part of my body is just it's
Yeah.
being like gravitation. There's like a gravitational
Good.
pull around
Good.
the mid area, and it's just being sucked
Are you
sucked in.
are you okay with feeling that? Is it, I'm imagining not the most comfortable, but is it okay to let that be there? Just to even touch it. Yeah, I know it's not painful. Notice the eyes contracting with it. Let that be there too. Hold it a little longer. Hold the contraction. Just get to know it. You know, it's I'm gonna let the breathing go shallow. Let yourself be clenched. Yeah. And now you can drop it. Let it go. Yeah. Yeah. Notice the body. Notice the body. Let it do what it wants to do. Let it flow. Let this cooling thing that's coming up now, let it flow.
Mm. Mm.
Notice how quickly it locks up again, right? Is that, are you aware of that? Is that true for you, or what are you experiencing right now?
Mm. No, it actually feels like it's still quite um, open. It felt like
Uh,
when I kind of let go at the
mm,
end, there was like it dropped down through into the floor, and it was like I was pulled down by
beautiful.
my root kind of into the cushion I'm sitting on, and there was this sense of like, yeah, it was like dropping an anchor down into the into the bed.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I feel like I'm just being more rooted in a way.
Mm, wow.
Mm. And there's also a sense of more awareness around my heart. I can feel my heart beating in my chest, and I sense just some emotion like behind my eyes as well. Just
Yeah.
something, just a kind of sensation there too. Mm.
And let's just maybe hang out with everything, not needing to move anything forward. Your body just moved a lot of energy around. Really let it settle, let it take root in your body. What's there, the anchoring, let that really be anchored.
Mm. Mm.
Give it the time it needs. It's okay. Check in with your legs also. Check in with what's happening in the belly, the chest. Just checking in, landing with that. Let me know if you want to tell me about anything that you pick up from there.
Mm. There's an interesting sensation of, I'd say, tenderness that is arising.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's associated to like letting go,
Yeah.
and to it's like I've been trying to direct and conduct and control.
Right.
And that it's just, there's this tenderness that is arising from allowing.
Let that allowing to happen and see what supports your body. I find my own hands stroking gently on my thighs. I don't know if that's supportive for you, but just feel into your own, this letting go, flowing tenderness that's emerging. Yeah. Supporting that. Yeah, the neck moving. Yeah. The hands. Yeah. Stretching. Yeah. Yeah, very good. Do you notice anything in your legs, your feet, your calves?
There's more sensation in the soles of my feet, I think.
Yeah.
It's like whatever dropped from my
Yeah.
belly kind of made its way down into
That's right.
into my legs.
That's what I feel too. Something dropped away there. Yeah.
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 Mm. Yeah, I'm also, I guess I'm reflecting on the fact that it feels new to just, it sounds weird, but inquire and let in what's there before jumping into the kind of analysis and predicting or telling a story about what it is, and just actually like being curious.
The word that's in my mind is that is true. That is what authentic expression is. From your pelvic floor.
And what actually feels almost the most vulnerable in some way is not knowing what that feeling is connected to. And it's interesting that it's like I give myself permission to feel things when I know what they are, but it's like just then I wasn't sure what that was.
Yeah.
Or what it was connected to.
It's scary, right? Like to feel something you don't know. It's like jumping into a lake you don't know how deep it is, right? It's like
right.
Makes sense. It is scary.
Yeah, it was like a visceral sensation that was there, but also just like a not knowing or understanding exactly what it was connected to.
And to me, this is sometimes a little spooky, but I remember waking up at 3 a.m. this morning, thinking of you. And the words in my mind were like, Johnny, fuck it, just jump in. And it somehow it has this kind of quality, like in this moment.
It's interesting. The theme for me in the last couple of days has been, I realized it was the leap year day a few days ago on the 29th of February, and I was exploring the idea of the word leap, and it was going to be the Whitean word that I was going to write about, and it feels like this. That is exactly what is alive in me right now, and it's leaping into into the relationship, it's leaping into this desire, it's leaping into these feelings without knowing exactly what they are. And yeah, that's you definitely have some kind of psychic psychic ability there. That's interesting.
And I want to just like let you drop into the fact that both the raging bull and the calming anchor, both of these visuals that your mind produced, that at first they were such opposites, but now they actually live in the same place. They live in that same area, right? What does that bring up for you to touch into that?
I think it brings up a sense of the fire and the desires, interestingly, maybe craving a kind of container. I actually prefer that to the word boundary, but I think a container for expression. And what, again, coming back to the images of surfing in big waves and the Thai boxing, I feel like those two arenas or containers were ways that I felt like I could just completely let it go without any fear of just without any obstruction. Like I could completely let it rip, like opening full throttle and knowing that I wasn't gonna get arrested for speeding, like whatever that is, and having. It's interesting that actually what that desire wants is a container into which it can fully express without the almost like maybe it's like directing the energy of light into like a laser. It's like bringing that into
getting
like
centered,
a sharp,
right?
Yeah, like a sharp focus, and the fire can become more intense if it is kind of given those
beautiful
that container.
So they're actually working together, right? They're actually supporting each other. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and the water or the calmness is kind of the like the backdrop to the fire. It's like that is like the intrinsic state.
It's what the fire gets to rest in, almost. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
I really like that. I like the way that feels.
Yeah, I like the way that feels in my body right now. I'm like, what a treat, what a gift. You know, I feel like anyone watching this will be like, they must feel great right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting that perhaps what was restraining the desire was not necessarily a block per se, but a lack of a prism, or like a lack of a something, a vehicle through which it could be fully expressed.
Yeah.
And that was what was being frustrated, is that all of that energy was being kind of dissipated in an unfocused way.
I almost have this image of Tetris, right? When two pieces are completely disjointed, they feel like it doesn't, but now that they find a way to fit together,
Mm.
it's like solving
Mm.
a puzzle and being like, oh my, are you kidding me? Of course it fits there. It has a kind of like, I don't know if that's good, what it
Yeah.
feels like a little bit like.
Yeah. No, it feels like that image is like now that I've just voiced it, it feels obvious in the way that
Right.
the pieces kind of come together. But it also, I was like, why didn't I see that before?
Totally. It's like, I feel like it's every deep session I've ever had feels like that. I'm like, oh my God, like if only I had known.
Hmm. Hmm. It's an interesting lens through which to view desire,
Yeah.
and that it's less about kind of I I feel like as if the energy has been one of maybe pushing as opposed to like um picking up a glass and kind of pouring it full of water like, or just
Yeah.
letting it, like knowing that it's there and letting it come through,
Quite
and
paradoxical.
almost,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like making the switch to like view my role as actually how do I think about creating this container for this energy that is already there, as
Mm.
opposed to like trying to create the energy from
Yeah.
scratch. Or
Whew.
yeah, yeah, that's interesting.
I want to connect it for a moment also what you did in the body, where you said, I'm
Mm,
trying to soften this. And I
mm,
said, don't soften it, let it get tighter, right? It will let
mm,
it
mm,
really wrench itself in. I worked with this
mm,
one founder. He said, it's like a wrench. And I'm like, how about you really, just, you drill it in even more. It's already into the wood and it feels like it's,
mm.
and then by itself, magically, it's like goes through, right? Is that resonating with you?
Yeah, I think what resonates is actually um, you giving me permission to direct my awareness into that space, and
Yeah,
by moving my awareness there, that created the container for the thing to kind of move itself.
beautiful.
But it was like the container was uh, objective, well, not objective, but just like indifferent to what happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
There's something else coming up for me. It's like a lot of people who I work with or in the world, they tell me, I want nothing else but authentic expression for myself in the world. But
mm,
I think you're also having this insight. Authentic expression is fucking scary because you don't get to control your authentic expression. It just comes up. It's just there, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, holy fuck, like it's
Mhm.
like the anchor and the raging bull. And when the raging bull wants to rage, and you're like, I don't know if it's like, I don't know if I want to be authentic anymore, right? It's like,
Yeah. It's so I one of the insights that came to me during this 5-day breathwork training that I did with our mutual friend Ed a couple of
mhm,
weeks ago was this. I was trying to connect to my intuition in some ways and giving it, which is I guess another way of saying authentic expression. And I realized that I listened to my intuition when I liked what it had to say.
that's
It was
great.
basically what I came
Yeah.
to realize. And that all the other times that it was subtly telling me things that I didn't necessarily want to hear, I was like just pretending it wasn't there.
And, and, I,
And yeah.
and I want to connect it to your insight. It's like you don't get to control, but you do get to direct, right?
Mm,
You
mhm,
get to direct it, right? You get to say, wow, this is some really heavy charge right now. I'm gonna bring this over there, right? I'm
mm,
gonna let this out in this format, right? I'm
mm,
gonna
mhm.
punch a guy in the face in the sparring room, right? Or I'm gonna have
Mm,
some wild sex, right? Where I'm gonna communicate that, or I'm gonna
mm,
surf
mm,
this crazy wave, or I'm going to write this article, right? It's like
mm,
the door is open. The door is open. Your agency is open to how to direct it. You don't really
mm,
get to choose it. In fact, you don't really want to, because it's energy, right? It's like you don't really want to
mm,
control that, as you've,
mm,
I think, discovered also, right?
mm, mm, mm. And I feel like the art for me is both um letting go of the letting go in some ways. I think sometimes, like
Mhm.
even just then, I was like actively trying to let go.
Right,
And
right.
it's like that's another form of like fucking controlling. It's
Yes,
like
yes. Thanks for naming that. So important.
it's like that's another way that I'm trying to, like, on a more subtle level, trying to control the outcome here.
Yeah.
Um and that also is then kind of like, once the energy is present, then I guess the question is, what is the form in which this is kind of looking to be expressed, and what is the best medium for that? And like
Yeah.
you say, that might be sex, it might be boxing, it might be writing, it might be meditating, it might be whatever that is, but then asking, how does this energy want to move, and how does it want to come through? Mm,
I feel like, and that's a beautiful ending to this, right?
mm,
What do you want to create with this, Johnny? What do you want to do, right? What do you want to brainstorm? What do you want to whiteboard, right? Oh, what's coming forth, right? Through this, without you controlling, but just directing, right? Naturally.
mm, mm. Yeah, it's like, what is the container that wants to be created
Yeah. What a question.
from this energy?
What's
Yeah,
the container that wants to be created from here?
yeah, that feels juicy. Mm, mm. Hmm. I feel like a sense of just like, I want to go run in the ocean right now.
I know. I was like, I'm like, you gotta do your thing. We gotta end this call, and you gotta like let yourself be
Yeah,
alive, let yourself be free,
yeah,
and these I mean, and these will come back. These voices that like I'm too much. I'm putting this on you now. I shouldn't. This
right.
is too intense. This is too.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Agree to them, like, as much
Mm,
as you can, right? Both the thought I'm too much, say, yeah, a part of me, I'm too much, I'm agree to that, and I'm going to
mm,
let the bull run wild now also, like, let in your own time, like, give them both space. They're both
mm,
authentic, they're your anchoring, and they're your wildness, right? And
mm, mm, mm.
yeah, you don't get to control when which one of them comes up, when it's going to be more the other one, but you get to direct it, right? Like, yeah.
Mm, mm,
One line I like to say is like, love your fears and act on your excitement, right?
mm,
When there's fear, make space to love them, to hold them. When there's excitement, make space to act on that and let that come into the world, right?
mm. Yeah, the image that came up as you said that was like the image of a small child, and like the fear being the one that you hug, and then like the
Yeah,
excitement when you turn it around and it like runs off into like the
exactly.
playground or something.
Exactly. Exactly. Beautiful.
That's that's great. Yeah, I like that. I feel good.
I agree there. Beautiful work, Johnny. Really, really
Mm,
grateful for your courage, your vulnerability.
I'm grateful for that session too. I wasn't. Yeah, I had no idea that that would come from where we begun, which is great. It's a sign of a good conversation.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I had this
Yeah, thank you
strong
so much.
sense of your presence the last couple of days. I was like,
Hmm.
I was wrestling with you in my mind. It's like,
Hmm.
was arguing with you. I was like insulting you. I was saying, "Fuck you, Johnny. You're gonna go in."
So when I think of you, you are like the archetype of this kind of mischievous trickster, like devilish energy that just kind of appears and like will like poke and like deliberately cause mischief and
Right.
like
Yeah.
play pranks on people, and
Yeah.
it's refreshing. Yeah, I always brings a smile to my face.
Cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, let's leave it there. Seems like you'll have plenty of stuff to go off of from here. Yeah, keep me posted if anything comes up. Feel free to send me an email with any insights as they distill over the next 24 hours. That can be a helpful exercise sometimes. And I love that question. Maybe write that down somewhere. What's the kind of container I want to create for this energy? And
Yep.
and reframe that over and over again. What about the container
Yep.
for this? What about for that?
Yep.
Right? Like you get to
Yep.
make it up as you go along, right? That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's probably the most exciting question that I've heard myself say for a while. I want to go. I think once I get back from the sea, I think I'll do some writing and do some journaling, because I think it does. It's like a lens through which I can reflect on and get excited about so many different areas of my life right now.
Lots of love, Johnny. Beautiful stuff. Just feeling a deep love for you, deep connection, deep gratitude. And yeah, go out there, man. Do your thing. I'm really moved by your presence.
Likewise, and yeah, deep appreciation and gratitude for you too.
Cool. Let's leave it there. Talk to you soon, my friend. Have a great one.
Talk to you soon. Much love.
Much love.